Clause 24, the following: repeal of Schedule 2 to Principal Act. Schedule 2 to the Principal Act is repealed. This is a consequential amendment to the establishment of a bureau as a government department and Clause 14. I beg to propose.
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have already replaced the board with the committee. And Schedule 2 of the Principal Act talks about the meetings. And it is meetings, quorum, power to co-opt. And if we delete that, then that means we shall not have served the purpose. So, Madam Chair, I propose that we maintain.
We retain.
Yes.
Unless you want to replace the word board with the bureau. Yes. In the schedule. Yes. You can amend.
Yes. Permit me, Right Honorable Chair, to replace the word board with the bureau. I beg to propose. In the Schedule 2.
Honourable members, I put a question that Schedule 2 be amended as proposed by the chair. Those in favour say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule 2 as amended.
I put a question that Schedule 2 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favour say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favour say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
Right Honorable Chair, Clause 25 is a saving provision for Act 5 of 2016. Clause 25 is amended by deleting subclause 6. The justification for this provision, the provision is redundant because the claim for compensation is dependent on the terms of service of the person involved, so having a legal provision would bar such a person. I beg to propose.
Chair, Honourable Minister.
Concede.
General.
Madam Chair, it's going to be a little bit problematic because we still have sections of the law that has not been repealed. I hope I can find, for example, section 58, which will not be touched, and it reads like this: continuation of the bureau and employment of employees of the board. Notwithstanding the repeal in this section, the board established under the NGO Act (CAP) shall continue to operate until the minister appoints. The point I want to make is that this law should have gone, this bill should have gone ahead to look at the sections that have not been touched, because those sections will remain in force, and any employee can actually argue under that under section 58 you have no right to terminate me or take me anywhere. I should automatically be absorbed into the service. It is complex. Even when you look at the vesting of the assets, that clause has not been touched. I think clause 57, it is still 57. It still vests the assets in the bureau, and yet it should now be in either government of Uganda or the ministry. But if we go there, it may open so many things. Maybe they will see how to handle it.
You see, first 58. Under 58 says, every person who immediately before the commencement of this act was employed by the board becomes an employee. of the Bureau and shall continue to be employed by the Bureau. And what we want to delete under 25 is that compensation is not payable to any member of the board of directors of this Bureau of non-governmental organizations for loss of office resulting from the abolition of the board of directors of this act. Now, in the other section, you're saying automatically you become an employee. Now here you're saying that if we lay you off, because you don't claim for any compensation. Maybe you'd handle that administratively. AJ?
Madam Chair, the clauses 27, 28 and others are in part 12 of the Act. They are headed savings and transitional. So they were transitional, meaning that until certain actions took effect, the clauses would remain. And once that action took effect, the clauses would collapse automatically, just like vesting of personal purposes. And even in this new law, they continue until their intention or their intended purpose is achieved. Once that is done, they automatically collapse. That's what it means. They are transitional clauses. I beg to submit.
When you look at Part 7 of the Parent Act, it talks about savings and transitional. Section 57 is vesting of assets and liabilities. Section 58 is continuation of the Bureau and employment of employees of the board. Yes.
Madam Chair, that's where my argument is. There will no longer be a board after this.
We are saying wherever there is a board, there will be a bureau. That's what even Loeb said in our drafting. Wherever there will be a board, it will be a bureau.
That's correct, but in the Principal Act, the Bureau is a corporate entity also. So meaning that there was a Bureau before existing as a distinct corporate entity with its own personality to employ and to disemploy. Now you are giving a second definition of a Bureau now under the department, a Bureau just like which is a department. Now you must distinguish those two, because there will be employees of the Bureau, the other Bureau, which had the legal capacity. And now there is this Bureau which is just a department. So that's why I'm saying that in the drafting, this section should have also been amended, either by repealing or inserting a new transitional clause that touches on 57, 58, and etc. Because right now the Bureau owns properties. The former Bureau, the one existence in law, it has its own, their properties invested in them. But now you are removing that corporate veil from them, that corporate personality. I hope you see what I'm trying to address.
Actually, 25 should have addressed 57 and 58, and then others. Clause 25. AG, can the draftsman clean up using 25?
Yes, Right Honorable. We can embed the concerns under clause 25. Chair, we will have a redraft of clause 25 to embed the concerns raised by Honorable Dur. Thank you.
So do we take the proposed amendment of 25, or we leave it to the drafts people to do the amendment?
Right Honorable Chair, the spirit and letter of all the concerns all provided for, I propose that we go with the amendment, then the draftsman or woman for that case will clean up the text.
Okay. I put a question that clause 25 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say under control and nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say under control and nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Minister.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto.
I put a question that the House resumes and the Committee of the Whole House reports there too. Those in favor say under control nay. Yes, have it.
Report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill entitled the Non-Government Organizations Amendment Bill 2024 and passed it with amendments.
I put a question that the report.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
I put a question that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this House. Those in favor say under control nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the Non-Governmental Organizations Amendment Bill 2024.
Minister.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Non-Government Organizations Bill, Amendments Bill 2024, be read the third time and do pass.
I put a question that the Non-Government Organizations Amendment Bill 2024 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say under control nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Non-Governmental Organizations Amendment Act 2024.
Title settled and the bill passed. Congratulations. Honorable members, in the public gala this morning, we have pupils and teachers from Glory Moon Children's School from Kira Municipality, represented by Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda and Honorable Naluima Betty Ethel. You're most welcome. Please stand up. Thank you. You're very smart. Welcome.
Bill second reading, the National Library Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the National Library Amendment Bill 2024 be read the second time.
Seconded. Is the bill seconded? Seconded by the government chief whip, by chairman, attorney general, by prime minister, by generals, by all the MPs. Could you speak to your bill before we hear from the chair?
Right Honorable Speaker,
Honorable ministers, you'll forgive me when I don't mention your name, especially if you're an ex-official. Because I'll be asked why, how did you allow an ex-official to second? Please just bear with me. That's why you'll find I've jumped an ex-official and mentioned another. That is the reason, because you never know, somebody can drag us to court. Thank you. Speak to your bill, Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, the purpose of amending the National Library Act 2003, Act 2 of 2003, is to transfer the responsibility for the management of the National Library from the National Library Board to the Ministry responsible for education. This is because there was no policy guidance to the community libraries. They were all scattered. The functions being performed by the national libraries are closely related to the education and training other than cultural functions. The suitable home to provide policy, administration, and coordination is definitely the ministry responsible for education and sports under a Department of Libraries, E-Learning, and IT. I move right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chair, can you give us a summary?
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I hereby present a report on the Committee on Education and Sports on the National Library Amendment Bill 2024. Madam Speaker, allow me, before I proceed, to lay on the table a copy of the report and the minutes. I beg to lay. Madam Speaker and honorable members, as you already guided, you allow me not to consider the section on policy and principles, defects in the law, because these ones already mentioned in the other bill. They are similar information. Briefly, Madam Speaker, the objective of the bill is to give effect to the government policy for rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure adopted by Cabinet on 22nd of February 2021, and this one is already also being explained before. On the methodology, we held meetings with the Minister of Education, the National Library, reviewed the Constitutional Law of the Republic of Uganda 1995 as amended, the National Library Act, and the written memoranda from National Library. Madam Speaker and honorable members, quickly allow me to take you through the brief background, very brief. The National Library of Uganda, established by the National Library Act 2003, replaced the Public Libraries Board, established by Public Libraries Act 1964. The National Library of Uganda is responsible for standards, guidelines, and advocacy for libraries and distribution of over 30,000 books to over 50 public libraries and to community libraries across Uganda. And Madam Speaker, the other details are as indicated in the report which was uploaded. And the Minister has ably talked about the purpose of the bill. So allow me to go to salient observations of the committee. The committee had an interaction with the director and other staff of the Secretariat of the National Library Board of Uganda and analyzed their written memoranda in addition to interacting with the ministry. The National Library of Uganda welcomed the bill. However, they had concerns about repealing of Section 9 of the Principal Act and saving provisions that relate to staff and payment of terminal benefits. The National Library stated that the staff were worried about continuity of National Library operations when the bill comes into force. The committee analyzed the above observation, but specifically on B, we observed that the National Library of Uganda was established and was under the Committee of Social Services. According to Certificate of Financial Implication, the bill is envisaged to result in saving to government through a reduced wage bill and personnel-related costs amounting to Uganda shillings 1.282 billion in financial year 2024-2025 and 1.622 billion in financial year 2022-2026. The details are indicated in the table, Madam Speaker, on the next page. The committee further observed that the National Library of Uganda has been a subvention under the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. The amendment proposes that the management of the bill of the National Library and their functions that were performed by it are transferred to the ministry responsible for education for better management. Madam Speaker and honorable members, we therefore recommend as a committee that the National Library of Uganda is mainstreamed into the Ministry of Education and Sports and that terminal benefits of the staff be expeditiously handled. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the Committee on Education and Sports recommends that the bill as proposed be passed. I beg to report.
Thank you. It is basically transferring the functions from gender to the Minister of Education, and it has no amendments. That is what the bill is seeking to do. In the public gallery this afternoon, we have students from Samson Memorial High School, Shevando. They are represented by Honorable Shamim Malende and Leader of Opposition, Honorable Joel Senyonyi. You're most welcome. Please stand up. Stand up. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Honorable members, you've had the bill, and it's a straightforward bill. Yes, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I just needed a clarification on how much we are looking at in terms of the terminal benefits that the committee did not put out in the report. Because how much they are saving 2024, 2025?
They are not saving anything. They are transferring from one place. It's like you transferring from NOP to NRM.
It will be calculated in accordance with the terms of employment.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
So honorable members, there is a cost. All these bills have a cost, especially in terms of payment of staff. And remember the issue of REA. Up to today, most of the REA staff have not been paid. All of them have costs. So the issue of the costs must be handled by the receiving ministry, and as a house that does appropriation, you must budget for it. I put a question that the National Library Bill 2024 be read for the second time. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The National Library Amendment Bill 2024, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye to the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I put a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. The contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I put a question that clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I put a question that clause 8 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I put a question that clause 9 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I put a question that clause 11 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I put a question that clause 12 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
I put a question that clause 17 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I put a question that clause 19 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
I put a question that clause 21 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 22.
I put a question that clause 22 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
I put a question that clause 23 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
I put a question that clause 24 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I put a question that clause 25 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 26.
I put a question that clause 26 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto.
I put a question that the House resumes and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the bill entitled the National Library Amendment Bill 2024 and passed it without amendments.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the Whole House be adopted.
I put a question on the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted by this House. Those in favor say and contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Bill's third reading, the National Library Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the National Library Amendment Bill 2024 be read for the third time and do pass.
I put a question that the National Library Amendment Bill 2024 be read a third time and do pass. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The National Library Amendment Act, a bill for an act titled the National Library Amendment Act 2024.
Title settled and the bill passed. Congratulations.
Bill second reading, the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024.
Madam
Yes.
Speaker, the minister is going out on the procedure matter. I would wish him some, if with your powers, Madam Speaker, whether it will be procedure okay for the minister to make commitment as per the report that they will clear these people who are leaving the job. Can he put it on record? Because he knows I'm a minister as well. And I will come back here to ask the same thing. So it is in a good spirit. Because our bill has not had any issues. So could we make a commitment on the floor so that we don't go for further matters? General Katumba is laughing. He doesn't know that I'm a minister. He knows he's aware of those with lead cars and pickups. Me, I'm one with none. But the minister could make that.
Honorable, the shadow is asking. Kindly just give him comfort, assurance that those people will be catered for where need be.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank my Shadow Minister for following whatever has been taking place very keenly. And I want to assure him that now that it's a law, everything is going to be implemented as the law says. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Bill second reading, the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024 be read for the second time. I beg to move.
Thank you. Seconded. Seconded by Loy, by Acrobat, by Tony, by Isingiro, Iganga, Dubai, Solomon. It's called Honorable Olobo Dubai. Aru, Patrick, Olanya Jr., by Sue Honorable Susan Amero, and by Mamawi James. Thank you. Could you speak to your motion? The National Planning Authority
Thank you.
Amendment Bill.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable. Right Honorable Speaker, the purpose of this amendment is to give the National Planning Authority additional functions which were performed by the dissolved National Population Council and National Physical Planning Board, thereby inter alia relieving the government of the financial drain on its resources and the burden of wasteful administration and expenditure, and of mainstreaming 3 agencies, yet one agency may ably perform all the functions.
Thank you. Chair, give us a report.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the committee has considered and hereby reports on the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I hereby lay the minutes, the acts thereof, presentations and supporting documents in the original reports. I hereby lay.
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the committee considered the bill and hereby reports. On the 22nd sitting of the 3rd session of the Parliament, held on the 9th April 2024, the Honorable Minister Henry Musasizi, the Finance, Planning and Economic Development, General Duties, moved that the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024 be read for the first time in accordance with Rule 128, subsection 2 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. In a matter of summary, I would like to move direct to the objectives of the objects of the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024, 3.0. The object of the National Planning Authority Amendment Bill 2024 is to amend the National Planning Authority Act 2002 to transfer to the National Planning Authority the functions performed by A, the National Population Council, established by the National Population Council Act 2014, Act 8 of 2014, and the National Physical Planning Board, established by the Physical Planning Act 2010, Act 8 of 2010. The National Planning Authority Act 2002. The National Planning Authority Act 2002 was enacted in 2002. The Act establishes the NPA and provides for its composition and its functions in accordance with Article 125 of the Constitution. The primary function of the authority is to produce comprehensive and integrated development plans for the country, elaborated in terms of the prospective vision and the long-term and medium-term plans. The additional functions of the authority are to: 1, coordinate and harmonize development plans in the country. B, monitor and evaluate the effectiveness and impact of the development programs and the performance of the economy of Uganda. C, advise the President on policies, strategies for the development of Uganda. And D, to support local capacity development for national planning, and in particular provide support and guidance to the national and local bodies responsible for the centralization plan process. E, to study and establish, to study and publish independent assessments of the key economic and social policy issues and options so as to increase public understanding and participation in the economic and social policy debate. F, liaise with the private sector and civil society in evaluation of the government performance and identifying filling gaps in the government policies and programs. G, to review priority development issues and the needs and to make recommendations. And D, to ensure that all the national plans are gender and disability sensitive and to design and implement programs to develop planning capacity in local government. The committee findings and observations and recommendations. The National Planning Authority Bill, Amendment Bill, seeks to transfer the function of the National Population Council to the National Planning Authority under Clause 4 of the bill. The committee observed that the National Planning Authority Act was enacted in 2002, and the functions of the authority are to, 1, coordinate and harmonize development planning in the country, to monitor, evaluate the effectiveness and the impact of development programs and performance of the economy of Uganda, advise the president in policy strategies, and go on like I had read before. The committee further noted that the mission of the National Planning Authority is to produce comprehensive economic development plans for the country. The National Planning Authority is also mandated to coordinate development planning in the entire country and to advise the executive branch on the best practices and strategies for development of the country. The agency is charged with the economic evaluation of public projects and programs in collaboration with the civil society and the private sector. It is also responsible for the development of the local enterprise in the development planning nationally and at the district level. Through the National Planning Authority's mandate of producing comprehensive and integrated development plans for the country, elaborate in terms of the National Vision Framework, the long-term perspective plans, and the medium-term plans as enshrined in the NPA Act 2002. The authority has continued guiding the country in its different development agendas aimed at achieving socio-economic transformation for all Ugandans. Over time, the NPA has been at the forefront of guiding socio-economic development of the country in accordance to international, regional, and national development agenda. The committee noted that the transfer of the function of the National Fiscal Planning Board and the National Population Council to the National Planning Authority improves coordination between the physical planning and the national development strategies. This ensures that the infrastructure developments, urban planning, and land use considerations are directly linked with the national economic goals, healthcare, education, and social service planning. The committee further noted that the transfer of the functions of the National Physical Planning Board and the National Population Council to the National Planning Authority promotes a holistic planning approach. Integrating physical planning with broader economic planning encourages a more holistic approach to sustainable development. It ensures that the physical infrastructure development support broader economic and social goals are achieved. The committee observed that the transfer of the functions of the National Physical Planning Board to the National Planning Authority achieves the government policy of rationalization. The functions of the National Planning Authority shall be efficiently and effectively achieved and also relieves the government of the financial drain on its resources and the burden of wasteful administration and expenditure. The committee further observed that the outputs of the National Population Council and the National Physical Planning Board shall best be integrated in the plans of different sectors under the supervision of the National Planning Authority. And therefore, the committee notes that the bill does not have commencement date for the bill. The absence of the commencement date means that the law will commence on publication, and yet the agency may need more time to adequately prepare for the rationalization policy. This is therefore, and I beg your pardon, there is therefore need to provide in the bill a commencement date to accommodate the period for rationalization period. Recommendation. The committee recommends that the National Planning Authority bill be passed subject to the proposed amendments that will follow at the committee stage. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Yes, proceed, yeah.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I thank the Chair and his committee for this report. However, Right Honourable Speaker, we are guided by our rules, but also the laws that we pass in this House. Section 76(2) of the Public Financial Management Act states that the certificate of financial implication issued under subsection 1 shall include the estimates of revenue and expenditure over the period of not less than 2 years after the coming into effect of the bill when passed. Right Honourable Speaker, I have looked at the certificate of financial implication attached to this bill, and under number 3, it is even stated that there will be costs expected from absorption of the functions of the National Population Council and the National Physical Planning Board. The certificate, Right Honourable Speaker, is silent and does not state these costs. I therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, find this certificate defective, and therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, is it procedurally right for us to proceed with this particular bill when the certificate attached is actually defective? Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the certificate of financial implication was presented, and under this particular bill, we only are taking the two agencies, which is National Physical Planning Board and the National Population Council. So, and the figures are here. Non-wage recurrent is 4.549, and under National Population Council is 10.88 billion. And they're just moving to the National Planning Authority.
You're actually moving it from one institution to the other, and there are only two clauses. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I understand the rationale of trying to rationalize and save money. But let's address our minds to reality. The National Planning Authority's cardinal role is advising on economic, macro, and micro policy of a country. The role of the National Physical Planning Board is particularly on land use, management, and distribution of resources. How will history judge us that we sat here to merge responsibility from a physical planning body to an economic, macro, and micro planning authority? Now, let's look for all the justifications that you would borrow, Minister of Public Service. Is it that there is expertise in the National Planning Authority for land use, management, and distribution? When one, under the National Physical Planning Act, we clearly stated that the role of this is to be used as a precursor for land registration, land use, land management, and land redistribution.
Clarification from Honourable Nzima.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the clarification I wanted to seek from Honourable Nsereko is that I wanted to know if you were saying National Physical Planning Authority joins the National Planning Authority. Are we saying we are taking away their responsibility? Or we are saying they should come and operate under the same umbrella? Because the way you are raising it is as
they
if...
have the same roles.
Yes, they don't have the same roles. They play different roles. I thought what you were saying is instead of them operating under different roof, they should come and operate under the same roof. So from the implication, it is as if we are saying they should abandon their roles, they should be taken by National Planning Authority. So that's the clarification I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. In performance of your duties, you're guided by a board. It's not a mere roof. Sharing a roof or sharing working premises can be done. You can even have all ministries work in one area. So I understand your issue. But the issue here are the functions. You see, if you say, I move my functions, because your functions are perfectly well prescribed through the performances of the board. You report to a given board. You understand what I'm saying? And meaning definitely, your managerial functions become limited by your performance and your constitution. I mean, you can argue against that today. We had similar arguments before in 2010, but you realize that people on the National Physical Planning Board have given expertise that people at the National Planning Authority do not have.
So much, Honorable Sereko. The question is,
okay.
Let's take an example of Ministry of Finance, but you get me. Yes, thank you. We are taking an example of Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. The function of finance, the function of planning, the function of economic development, they are all under one ministry, one leadership, one permanent secretary, and different departments or different state ministers. But they are all doing these three functions under one roof. The argument here is National Planning Authority, National Registry, National Fiscal Planning Authority, they are more or less all doing planning. So we are saying, can they be under one roof and do their planning, but still maintain their independent roles or functions as stipulated in the Act?
I want to appreciate...
Honorable member, you started a debate before I opened. I thought you were asking for a clarification, and which clarification the owner of RAPEX wants to give. Let's first get the clarification, because we are now talking about NPC, NFB being taken to NPA. Maybe he has a reason as to why he wants it that way. Honorable Minister, then you will come.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I would like to also thank Honorable Sereko for raising some of these issues. Why we made that proposal under the RAPEX program was that we looked at the whole planning function in the country. At the strategic level, the National Planning Authority really gives us what we should do, all the plans, and gives the strategic direction of whatever function that is going to be done in government. Then after that, the other ministries or agencies or departments really break down this strategic plan into plans that are manageable and executable in their various ministries and departments. So that's why I was saying this strategic level of planning done by the Physical Planning Authority level should now go to the NPA, and then the other agencies. Doesn't mean that they are not going to plan or they are not going to implement, Most of these other agencies are actually now the operational agencies, translating the strategic plans into actions which lead to the development of the country. In other words, strategic level means a master plan, the whole bigger macro idea of a plan, which is going to be reduced into implementable, actionable programs. That's all.
Honorable Minister, maybe could we first get to know what does the National Planning Council do? Population. National Planning, the population bit of it. The planning population, what does it do?
Well, it looks at the nation's demographic
The
picture.
demographic, yes.
The demographics, the characteristics.
Honorable, first listen. It helps you.
Its characteristics and definitely the trajectories that the population is likely to take. And then, after that, other aspects regarding the improvement and the development and the visions of the population done by the various ministries that are concerned with that subject.
Then what about the fiscal planning?
The fiscal plans, this is largely in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, all those fiscal plans and how they are executed, and the actual even implementation, the actual oversight over these things. These are left to the Ministry of responsible for physical planning, that is Ministry of Housing, Lands and Urban Development.
So why are you moving it away from lands and housing?
We are looking at the strategic level. Just the planning, this is strategic. Otherwise, all the other plans that we follow really are done by the National Planning Authority. And at that strategic level, they have the macro plan, and then below, these other agencies which are operational, break that into actionable points, and they're executed.
And what does NPA do?
It is that NPA which I'm talking about. That gives us the strategic micro plan. And then below, we have these other agencies translating the strategy.
So you want, honorable members, let's hear what the minister says. Yes.
Like we have the vision, for instance, 2040, vision 2030, and so on. All that is contained in the NPA purview. And then below that, we have the various agencies, the departments, which reduce this strategic plan into actionable plans, and they are executed for the overall development of the country.
A clarification from infrastructure.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I think now the word that has confused us and led us where we are is planning. Now, we have Right Honourable Speaker, this word has really confused us, because National Planning Authority is at policy level, formulation. Strategic. Now, you are talking about physical planning, board. It has even a component of enforcement.
That is at a lower level.
Enforcement up to sub-county, from national to sub-county. You're talking about a country whose land use is one of the most disorganized. People build on trenches, and you are saying you want
NPA.
You want to take it to NPA. You are getting it from lands.